Happy Monday, everyone. Oh, God, there are grounds in that. I'm Andrew with Investors Hub, and on Friday evening, we spoke with Jea Yu. And Jay is a day trader. He's been on the show a bunch of times. We'd like to talk to him about the stocks that he's watching. That's one of the topics. And I was also curious to know if he traded the cryptocurrency market because I wasn't sure if he had mentioned it before. Yeah, you have to watch the interview to find out about that. And yeah, if you like the content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter, ihub_vision. And let's talk to Jay. Please note that our videos are not designed to be direct investing advice. We're here to gather the perspective of different investors. Our channel and our content should just be one stop on the journey of trying to find out where to put your money. So, Jay, I've never asked you before. Do you trade the cryptocurrency market?
Well, Andrew, I wouldn't necessarily call it trading like I trade stocks. Stocks are able to, play the long and the short. So as far as cryptos, I got a small account, with Robinhood and Coinbase. Let me tell you, when it comes to crypto, I own Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin. As far as the cryptos are concerned, first and foremost, the notion that it's a currency, which implies that, hey, you can use Bitcoin to buy a car. Well, you can't buy Teslas anymore, but to buy coffee. The problem is cryptos are not currencies, right? First and foremost, they're not stable, okay? They're not stable, and every transaction is a taxable event. So if you decide to buy a cup of coffee or a Tesla or an NFT, every time you make a transaction, IRS is going to want to know, well, what's your cost basis on that? Oh, man, I'm up 20%. That's why I bought me a Tesla. Well, guess what? Now you got to pay capital gains on that 20% on top of whatever you paid for the Tesla. And Tesla has to keep records of that. So the problem is any transaction you buy, anything you buy is a taxable event, and you have to keep records of it. Now, the IRS, they haven't gotten to that point, but you can rest assured they will clamp down. Anything you buy, coffee at your coffee shop because they take cryptos, or some of these athletes, oh, I'm taking my salary in crypto. Oh shit, what is your cost basis? And you got to keep track. Is it a cap gains or cap loss? Now, if it's a cap loss, you're limited to only $3,000 a year, all right, as a cap loss. Well, I bought a Tesla and the thing depreciates the moment I walk it. Well, too bad. That's not a cap loss. So there's a lot of tax implications that people have to kind of think things out, and they're still working this. So anything that's not stable and is a taxable event, I stay away from as far as transaction wise. When it comes to the cryptos, I know there's a whole bunch of cryptos out there, Dogecoin, but Ether, all right, Ether, I like. That's what I literally have limit orders just to buy every 250 point pullback or $250 pullback. Bitcoin has peaked out, and it's got a weekly bearish, what I call a mini inverse pump. So there's a very real chance Bitcoin drops to the under 30,000. All right. As far as Bitcoin's concerned, it's basically a standard, but it's not, as far as a store of value. A store of value implies security, stability. All right. And Bitcoin is not stable. It has yet to get a decent pullback. So, that thing drops to 30,000s into the mid 20,000s. That's a good spot to pick up some Bitcoin. But as far as Ether, well, you've heard of the non-fungible token craze going on right now, the NFTs. Well, most of the NFTs are on the Ether blockchain because Ether has the smart blocks. So those are programmable. So, none of these cryptos have any intrinsic value unless they're pegged to the dollar. But Ether at least serves a purpose. They always talk about, well, Bitcoin's not blockchain. Blockchain is okay, but Ether, is programmable. It is there's smart blocks. So these NFTs, most of them are on Ether. Okay, they use the Ether blockchain. So Ether actually serves more of a purpose than Bitcoin itself. So Ether would be my cryptocurrency of choice. And not to buy anything, not to buy cars or anything like that, but every 250 points pullback, it's a good area to scale into Ether, all the way down to 2,500. Right, so Ether is I think that's got a long runway to go. These NFTs and the market, the equity markets are going crazy over NFTs. You know, PLBY, PLBY. They're just thinking about doing EFTs. All right, they just mentioned, well, we have 70 years worth of photographs and one of a kind commissioned artwork and stuff like that. So they got real stuff. Okay, and they're profitable. I mean, just the licensing alone, they're one of the top 10 licensing brands in the world. So there's some value there. I mean, do I think the stock is worth $50? No. Okay, but it's an NFT play because they're thinking about going into NFTs, and they have the content, the IPs. All right, they've got they got all the nude pictures, right? They got rights to all that, so that's good. But there's other companies like I did an article on TCAT, TKAT, and these guys have 295 pieces of art or whatever. They're an exchange. They don't even own a piece of that. So I'm like, there's nothing there. So you got to be careful with the whole NFT craze. PLBY, they're actually, they're ready to enter the NFT market. But once again, the NFTs are all based on what people are buying with cryptos. What was that? There was a painting that was bought for like $68 million, but that's all monopoly money. Okay, that's all the cryptos. If someone were to actually pay dollars for that, it's a whole different story. Plus all that stuff's a taxable event, So anyway, like I said, the whole NFT craze, if you want to get involved in that somehow, buy the pullbacks on Ether, all right, ETH. And until the NFT exchanges actually IPO, and they probably will, there's no real pure play on these NFTs. So anyway, that's my take on crypto. Bitcoin is basically your compass, I guess. But Ether is basically starting to surpass Bitcoin. Even the weekly charts, Ether's still uptrending and Bitcoin's peaked out. So ETH, that's the real deal. That's what I would look for pullbacks on. And it's a one-way trade because I don't know if you can short these cryptocurrencies. Not that I would. All right, there's not enough institutional involvement, algos, and all that stuff. Even though you see Bitcoin commercials nonstop around the clock now. But Ether, Ether is the one. That's the one that I favor the most.
Now, I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that there are ways that you can short Ether if, for whatever reason, you're into it, because the smart contracts of Ether, you can basically do kind of the same things that a market maker or a brokerage would do to make sure that everybody pays up.
Right.
And
and here's the other thing, Anthony, how I talked about
Anthony,
how it is a pain to know what your cost basis is on any of your Bitcoin purchases, because it's like 9 decimal places over. So every transaction, imagine having to figure out your cost basis with 9 or 10 decimal places over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hard enough just to keep track of stock transactions. But I mean, anyone who's active in that, they really got to be careful, because the IRS, the tax man's coming. Yeah, the tax man is coming, and who knows what's going on with these cap gains rates. All right, but once again, as we discussed, cap gains taxes are going up. There's no two ways about it. Taxes are going up. So and it's going to affect the cryptos as well. So just got to be careful.
You call me Anthony, I'm going to call you Jea. So, do you have any interest?
Laundry day, by the way.
Do you have any interest in the derivative DeFi tokens? So the tokens that are operating on the Ethereum network, so stuff like Compound and Aave.
I started to look at some of these NFTs. One of the biggest exchanges, I believe, is called OpenSea. You know what? I'm just gonna wait for the smoke to clear. For things to settle down. Like I said, one of the biggest problems is going to be regulatory. Obviously, regulatory is going to be the big thing. SEC is ultimately going to get involved, and rightfully so. All right. If these, like I said, these aren't currencies, because currencies are supposed to be stable. All right. So, if I owned a store and I was selling things and taking Bitcoin, well, if Bitcoin takes a 20% plunge in a week, well, what just happened? So I'm on the fence about all the other stuff, the DeFis, the NFTs. I guess I'm old school. So Ether is pretty much about it for me. Ether and Litecoin and BTC. So just the old stuff.
So we'll move away from cryptocurrency. And what stocks are you watching in the market right now?
Okay, so all right, so there's stocks that I have wish list orders for. All right, and currently I'm not holding anything. In addition to the stocks I mentioned our last time, and I still believe in eBay. I love eBay, but I got to get it cheaper, in the mid 50s. Now, the thing with eBay, and I had mentioned the comic book market and Disney, but the reality is the big speculators are and always have been in the video games, right? Video game market, sneakers, and trading card market. Oh, huge market. So in the last earnings call, the CEO had, Jamie Lalone, he had mentioned we're looking at, well, first of all, we have created an authentication process to speed up the posting for trading cards. And we've created an authentication process to speed up the posting of trading cards and sneakers and any other watches, just collectibles all around. So these collectibles, the players, the speculators, they move around. So they're coming into the comic book sector, realizing, oh man, these things are cheap, so they'll buy. They're the ones that are running up the prices of, a comic that was in the dollar bin a year ago is trading at $5.50 now, because they're realizing these are a lot cheaper than baseball cards or basketball cards. So they're driving up that market. So what eBay has done is it has become the most liquid marketplace in the world when it comes to collectibles. And the collectors, the speculators, they don't just stick in their own lane. They will spread out to the other lanes, and they're the benefactor. So the collectibles market that's their wheelhouse now. All right, just because of the liquidity. When you have more buyers and more sellers, you basically are the axe in the market. They're the axe. All right, so that's why I love eBay. Collectibles market is still going to continue to grow, especially people get out of Bitcoin, or they get burned in the cryptos. They're going to jump into the collectibles. Plus, collectibles also have that emotional thing. Like, you can't get emotional over Bitcoin, but you can get emotional over Air Jordans or Michael Jordan's rookie card, or certain comic books where first appearance of Venom or Carnage, and the movie's coming out. So you can get emotional about that stuff. That's what the collectibles. What do they inspire? Memories. Cryptos, there's nothing there, unless you've got ransomware or something like that, right? So eBay's main benefactor there. Nautilus, NLS, they came out with their earnings. Basically, they had projected Q1 to be about 75% growth. They came in at 125% top line growth. They beat the EPS numbers, adjusted EPS by like 50 cents. I don't care about that stuff. Also, they're kind of cheesy because, they gave 2026 guidance. I'm like, wait a minute, what year are we in? You can look that far into the future? Yeah, exactly. Did you come back from a time machine, multiverse? Or anyway, so, it popped and sold off. All right. So as far as Nautilus, I've got wish orders every day. I just put them in just in case I get lucky, in the 1550s to the $15 range. Nautilus cannot get through $18 a share. All right. So it's in a range, 1550 to 18. If you can get it in the 1550s or lower, now you're getting in on a stock that's doing over 100% year-over-year revenue growth. Oh, by the way, they lowered the bar again this time and said, okay, next quarter, we're only going to do 40 to 50% revenue growth. Wink, wink. All right. So, get it in the 15s. You're great. You can sleep on the stock at night. Don't chase it through 18, because that's where everybody's selling. All right. So Nautilus in the 15s looks great. eBay in the 55s looks great. There is another stock that KOPN, Kopin. All right. So you saw the whole run up or their big short squeeze on VUZI, VUZI. They make they basically make smart glasses, and they did. I think they did revenues of like $3 million last quarter or something like that. Something so small, it's mind-boggling. And the thing went to $30 a share. So fundamentals ultimately hit, and this thing drops below 12. But it's VUZI, VUZI. These guys actually make the lens for the smart glasses. All right. So when this thing drops under $6, if it drops in the 550s, all right, all day, every day, that is a buy. All right. And these guys probably do about $60 million a year, but they supply Google with the smart glasses. They supply VUZI with the smart glasses. Right. So they've been in business for over 20 years. And they're the ones who make the lenses. I'm sorry, the smart lenses. All right. So that's what you want to own. So KOPN, 550s all day. All right. Love that. Now, Genworth Financial, GNW, I had mentioned these guys very cheap because of their IPO. Well, they just came out with news saying that they're going to delay their IPO. And remember, delay is like their middle name because they were supposed to be acquired by China Oceanside, 535 or 545, something like that, 4 years for 4 years straight, and they delayed the deadline by 17 times. So they delayed the IPO this time because the IPO was supposed to go out at 24%. They're still supposed to own 83% of that IPO. So that thing pulled back, got down to about the 368 fib, and then bounced. So anything below 350s, because the IPO is going to happen eventually. All right, that's a great buy. On my wish list, 350s. EDR, we talked about that. They own UFC. They own literally every artist that's won a Grammy, every artist that's won an Academy Award, every streaming network. Either they own the rights, or either they own the producers, the actor. They got a piece of everything involved when it comes to content. So you got to own these guys. Now, I've been putting in wish list orders, and I've been getting filled at 29.50, 27.50, 26.50, and I've just been scalping them out. But in that order, 29.50, 27.50, 26.50, if you get 25.50, Christmas has come early. All right, these guys have, you know what? They literally have a monopoly on Hollywood and content. They own The Rock. Every blockbuster, almost every blockbuster hit major actor is contracted with them, through William Morris or through IMG, and athletes too, IMG, and they can cross market or cross, there's a synergistic effect with everything that they own or have rights to, representation, or they actually own the content. It's unbelievable. Ari Emanuel, Rahm Emanuel, remember the mayor in Chicago, his brother Ari, and they say like that show Entourage on HBO, Ari on Entourage, right? It was loosely based off him. This guy has cornered Hollywood. This you got to own. If you believe in content and the streaming wars and HBO Max and Netflix and Amazon vying for content, these guys, they own the components of the content. So that's the narrative alone is so good on EDR. Got to own that. And there's one more company, symbol STLA, Stellantis. Okay, and basically Stellantis is the merger. It's the fourth largest automaker in the world, merger between Peugeot and Chrysler. Okay, so they own all these brands: Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Alfa Romeo, Fiat, Maserati, Peugeot, Lexus, and Opel, trading at a PE of 3.5. All right. Fourth largest automaker in the world. They are a key player when it comes to EVs. Tesla's factory in Fremont, all right, that's the only factory that does all 4 lines of Teslas. They just made a deal with Tesla because they own a robotics company called Comal Robotics to basically set up automation in that factory so that they could meet their bigger numbers and whatnot. So they're going to assist Tesla to basically have more output of their EVs. All right. So that's just one subsidiary. So the symbol is easy, STLA, swap the T and the S from Tesla, TSLA, Stella. All right, so $52 billion merger trading at a 3.5 PE. Ford and GM, they're trading between 11 and 15 PEs. All right, so it's cheap. Things been trading in a 1650 to 1850 range. So if you can get it in the 16s, it's a steal all day, every day. Got my wish list there too. All right, so hoping Christmas comes early this year, in July. But those are the main stocks that I'm watching to actually buy into and maybe hold for a day or two, long term, which is a couple of days for me. So.
Hey, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter, ihub_vision, like I mentioned at the beginning, and I'll see you again soon.